guys, this is Laurel of the Dabbling Hook. How are you guys doing? Me? Okay. Almost wasn't gonna make this video, but it's been a couple weeks, and it probably would have been another couple weeks. Haven't been exactly in the mood to make a video. With everything going on, a lot of people have been impacted by it, and this past week we were. It's funny, no matter how many times you watch things on, well, I was going to say on TV, but I usually watch it through YouTube, and you see how people are affected and you feel for them. It's a whole other story when it hits this close to home, you know? Feeling a little teary. I don't cry. I usually don't cry. Yeah. Anyway, we were impacted. My uncle passed away earlier this week, and it kind of was a shock and not at the same time. We were hopeful, and it didn't turn out hopeful, at least in that case. He didn't make it, and we have other family members who've been impacted, and one is on the mend, another one is doing okay right now, and we thought my uncle was doing okay and turned out not to be. So you're kind of holding out hope and not, well, I shouldn't say not, you're fighting to stay hopeful, I guess. So anyway, I decided to come make the video because I didn't want to think about other things, alternatives and stuff, and I have a funeral to go to on Saturday, and trying not to think about that for right now. So how are you guys doing? I asked that already, didn't I? I hope you're doing well. I am having some wine, and I know a couple of people tagged me in a couple of the tags that are going around, and honestly, I don't know if I'll get to it. Yeah, so I figured I'll just come to show some yarn and makings and itchy foot. Try to be distracted. So enough of that. Yeah. Yarn. What are we working on? Welcome to all the new subscribers, by the way. Thank you for joining me, and it's not usually this morose here, but it is what it is right now. So, and welcome back, everyone else. Thanks for spending some of your time with me. It is Sunday afternoon, the 19th. It is quite blustery. We've had a whole lot of ups and downs in the weather, like everything else. We've had winds that you swear there was a tornado coming through, and it was beautiful like the next day, and then it rained, and then we had snow. Woke up to snow on Friday, which was I was not expecting that. But the sun's out, it's warm, but it's so windy, there's a chill in the air. So that's where we are. You're going to hear life noises because, you know, Minion 1 is gaming again. And I may cough because I've had this catch in my throat for about 19 days now. And I'm trying not to think of anything other than it's just a catch in my throat. And you're going to hear... Hi. The look I'm getting. Yeah, we've been here cooking, baking. You saw the baking. We're baking a lot. Breads, desserts. but we are trying to eat a little healthier as well. So, you know. Anyway, what are we working on? Last time I made a bread, I said it was salty, and I couldn't understand why because I followed the recipe. And I made another one, and I reduced the salt, and it was still a bit salty. And then I wondered, and I looked at the flour I used, which was self-rising flour, and yes, there's salt in there. So probably the only one who didn't know that, but just in case you didn't, there's already salt in self-rising flour. So if your recipe calls for salt, just keep that in mind. That was Minion 1 who just went by, probably snacking again. And Minion 2, in the midst of all this, got his first job. He had applied before all of it started, and it took a while, and so he started. So today will be his day 2, and yes, I'm always on edge when he goes out, so his first day was good. Let's see what else. I only have one current active whip. Ugh, can't talk. And I'm making another hat for Minion 2. And I think I may have gone a little small, but last time I went up a little more, and the hat stretches, and of course you got the fro, so it stretches even more. So I figured I'd start off a little smaller and see. So I am using some, this is more the color. This is being blown out. This is Knit Picks Brava Bulky in Umber Heather. It's basically tonal brown, and I love it. Love it, love it. It's brown, and then there are lighter browns that look almost gold in there. So I'm not very far. It's going to be it's a double brim hat, the one that you fold into itself. So I've got a ways to go. There's no rush on that one. And yeah, active whips. That's it for right now. Everything else I was working on, I actually finished, which I will show you in a second. Oh, getting messages. All right, so starting off, my finished item. Finally, it's finished but not blocked, and God knows if I'll block it, honestly. I would need to, it's so long, I would need to lay it out on the deck on the blocking mats, but it's been so windy that I don't want to put it out there because all the dust and stuff blowing, it'll just make a mess. So I'm waiting for a calmer day when it's warm out, and then I can do that. But I have finished my Just Feel Festive shawl. I will put a few pictures on. I tried, it's so long, it's just a little over 8 feet long, unblocked, so I can just imagine maybe another foot when it's stretched out. But I had started with the I think it's a Cascade Longwood merino that my sister had found at a thrift store, and I actually have some gray in that as well. But that was this green. This was Knit Picks Wool of the Andes in Tide Pool Heather. It's a bluish green color. And then more of the merino, and then I moved into Knit Picks Stroll, and these are all sport weight yarns. And it's sport weight, but I say it's more DK, I think. Stroll in Passion Fruit, and it's a little bright on camera. And then I added in the By Yarns Sonoma in Cat Pink, and this was gifted to me by a Z. And then I went back to, I started going backwards, so I added the last ball of the Stroll and the Wool of the Andes and ended with that. So yeah. If I were to do it again, I would definitely do the color section differently, but it's done. It just needs to be blocked. One end definitely is curling more, and I thought it's because on the decrease end I put it into the top of the chain rather than in the space. I thought that's what caused the curling a little more, but I did see that some other people still had the same curling even when they went into the space. So yeah, it's done, it's done, it's done. Funny enough, it's not even my colors, but I just wanted to use up the yarn because, you know, I have a lot there that needs to be used up. Let's see. Next is I am wearing the hat I made for I think it was February's was it February or March? Maybe March, but Setta's Calendar Cow. I'll put a picture of when I took it laying flat, but I've been getting good use out of it. It's made out of King Cole something chunky. I'll write it on the screen. But it's very reminiscent of the Loops and Threads Urban yarn, the way it's marled, but this one is all colors, whereas the Loops and Threads one was really one color with that white string going through it. And you're probably going to see Minion 2 getting ready to go to work, or at least hear him. But do you need me? Everyone gives me looks as they walk by. Alright, so actually I was saying, so I'm wearing that. I've been getting a lot of use out of it because you know, I got my hair in my twists, so I can actually comfortably wear my hats now when my hair's like this. So, but the other thing I did for April, her colors, I think I showed last time, I was going to use a Luxe Lolly that I had recaked, and I ended up using, I caked it because I wanted to use it double because it's pretty thin yarn, so I used it from the inside and outside of the cake. And what I used the Brick Stitch hat. It's a free pattern on Ravelry. I found the directions a tad bit confusing, and maybe my mindset wasn't there at the time, but there's lots of motorcycles and stuff going by, so you'll hear that. I made it work, you know. So this is the hat, and of course because I held a double and used a bigger hook, it came out bigger, which worked because when my hair is not in twists, it'll be able to support or accommodate all that. The edging I did my own, and it's just, what did I do? I think I did single crochets. Yep, just rows and rows of single crochets, and I did not decrease. I just I kept going down a hook size, and that's the back. I kept going down a hook size, so it maintained the stitches, but I still got the decrease. FYI, I'm sure you guys know that, but it's another way to get to decrease without decreasing, because sometimes when you decrease, you get the lumps where the stitches, where you decrease the stitches, or sometimes you get a hole. This is another way to do it without having to actually do decreases. You just go down a hook size gradually and you will get that. And then I finished with the purl single crochet. So yeah, I'm pleased with it, but I think I'm going to actually put it in inventory because it's not my color. It's very pastel. Now, if it was like this pink, yeah, and actually the pink and gray would have been great, but yeah, the colors went with the theme, even though a more pastel version of the theme, but it's not my colors. Yeah, so that's going there. And what I got out of what was left of the cake, I just single stranded, and I just made a little donation hat, and there's no pattern to that. I just did it as I went along. Yep. So that goes in the donation pile. Okay. What else? What else? So, other things that I made, and I just finished one last night. Hat Not Hate. I made another one of these. There's no name, and I was contemplating writing it up, but I don't know. But I wanted to do quick hats, which is just doing a plain half double crochet hat, but I wanted to give it a little interest, and that's what that is. So yeah, so there's that, and this was done in, I think it's my last cake. I gotta see if I have another one, but I think it's my last cake of what is that? A Bernat pop. So these are all the colors from it. I did color control because I didn't want, because these cakes, they have harsh color changes, so I didn't want that. So if I was halfway through the row and it changed, I would rip back and cut and add the new color in. So I did that here, and yeah. So that's that one. And again, it's just a plain double crochet hat. I did do something different for the brim, and I don't know if I can explain it. I probably would have to show it, but I kind of like it. And it makes it a little thicker, which I like, and then I ended with a reverse single crochet. Yep. And this is a normal reverse single crochet rather than the reverse one. I don't think there's a name for it. And then this is, I was following Fiber Spider's waffle stitch hat, but I didn't want to keep going with the increases, and I didn't want to have to figure out how to adjust for the pattern repeat, so I just kept it as it is. So you have the regular area here, here, where it has the 2 double crochet, and this one just has 1. So just a little twist on that. And this is the same brim, except I went in the back loop here, and I did this one first. I went in the back loop and I didn't like the way that looked here, so I did it a little differently on that one. And again, with now this one is the reverse crab stitch, and I don't know if you can tell the difference. One goes one way and then the other one goes the other way. So okay, and from the rest of the cake, and because I had color controlled, I had bits from each portion, so I just tied it into a magic ball and made another hat for donation. I think this one might be just a tad bit too big for newborn, maybe not, but it's going in. And I made it, what do you call it? Continuous join. So you get that little blip here. I tried to do it as best, but you always get that little jog there. So there's that.
Phone will work.
He's got his N95 mask on, going to work. Yeah. Okay, and then the last one I finished last night, or I did last night. I needed something mindless to do last night, so this is just a double rib hat. I didn't follow a pattern. It's something I've done for a while in different formats, and it starts all the way at the top. So yeah, and then I did that brim again that I was just talking about. This one I did slightly different than these. Same thing, I just used I combined half double and double crochets, whereas the ones before I think I did all half double crochets, but the same thing. And instead of the reverse single crochet, I did the wrapped. Did I do the wrapped? No, I didn't do the wrap. I did the last row of front post single crochet is what I did here. And it has this nice edging on it. It's not very noticeable there, but in person it is. So yeah. This is Nitpick. No, it's not. What was that? This was a Big Twist Chunky. I think that's the last I have of this color. I have a brown and a mustard, I think, color of that. And then this is a, what is that? Heartland. In, whoops, that little blip was me pulling on the that teardrop bag that had all the yarns and forgetting that you were hooked up there, so whoops. But anyway, Heartland, and I forget what the colorway is, so that's that. So that's it for the Hat Not Hate. The other things I've been doing, I've been sewing. So I have a few what I call wayward granny squares sitting around. Most of them are from Granny Square Day. You make a granny square and post it, and they've just been there. And I had them in a bag, not realizing. So I'm like, what am I going to do with them? They're odd shaped, they're different yarns, different sizes, doubled up yarns. So I decided to put them on a bag. So this is the first one I made, and the square was made from Karen Simply Soft and I think Vanna's Choice. It's either Vanna's Choice or Nitpicks. I want to say it might be Nitpicks, but it's 3 strands. 2 of Karen Simply Soft and 1 of whatever the other one is. So it's a pretty thick one, and I sewed it to it, oops, and you can see I interfaced, I'm sure you heard him, right? I used a lightweight interface on the fabric first and then sewed it on, and I'm not sure if it's because of the thickness of the square. I think that's what it is. It tugged quite a bit. I'm wondering if I should have sewn it first and then interface. I don't know if that would have made a difference, but it tugged. I think it kind of gives it character, you know, like a ruched effect. But the other thing I did, and yeah, I don't know how, I didn't notice it till I was putting the bag together, that I sewed the pocket on the outside. It completely did not dawn on me. The saving grace is I decided to use a zigzag stitch on it, so I guess it kind of gives it a little character. But I don't know what I was thinking, but I sewed the pocket on the outside, so you know, you've got a pocket on the outside. It is a drawstring bag. And the lining and the pocket and the top tab, it's just the bumblebee fabric that I had. I think I have just bits and pieces of it, and you'll see where I use some of the bits and pieces. I think I have a little bit bigger, but not big enough to make another bag, pieces of it. So yeah, so purple bag, and I think it's a nice size for, obviously for a hat, for socks. It holds a, hang on. This is a skein of Karen Simply Soft, and it fits in there very comfortably, sideways in the bottom. So I think it would hold a skein of Red Heart, I believe. I think it's a large to medium size. I like my bags on the smaller size. I know a lot of people like big bags to put everything in. I don't like that. To me, my project bag is to put the project in while I'm working on it, to move around with. Anything that requires that much yarn for me, I need to have it somewhere that I can access, but not in the same project bag. So I like regular size project bags or smaller project bags that I can, you know, drop in something, take on the go. Yeah, so that's that. The outside is purple, as you can see. That, it bugs me and it doesn't at the same time. Box bottom. Yeah. So that was one. I think I have like 2 or 3 other granny squares. One of them is the pretty large one, but I got to figure out what to do with it. I am going to put it on a bag. And then I have one of my favorite granny squares that I did for Granny Square Day. And it was done all out of scraps. And I had to steam it so you can see where I killed the acrylic a bit. But I just gotten, not long ago, I think it was long ago. I think in October I got it for intending to make a couple of Christmas bags and never did. So I bought this. It's brown with gold polka dots. So, and this size I absolutely love. To me, it's like the perfect size for me, because maybe it's because I usually make hats and amigurumis, and I keep the bits as I make them in here. So it's like the perfect size for me, I think. But the square I used is this, and it's made from, I think it was Vanna's Glamour. Is that the one with the sequins? No. Vanna's Glamour has the sparkly yarn, but there's one that had sequins in it. I don't know if it's a Vanna's Choice yarn, but anyway, the gold yarn has gold sequins in it, and then the white yarn has the silver tinsel running through it. So this is the square that I used. I absolutely love this square. So this is definitely a me bag. The cord, I was searching and I ended up finding one that was just perfect. It's brown with sparkles on it. It matches perfectly. And then the inside is just small yellow checks. Perfect. Perfect. The cord is a little too thick for the size of the, you had to come all the way down here when there's a bathroom upstairs. The cord is a little too thick for the drawstring channel that I made. So it's a little stiff to pull, but it makes this cute little bag, and I love it. And I love how the yellow just peaks when you close it. Perfect. Perfect, perfect. Now, when I use fusible fleece, I have no problem with it. But when I use the regular lightweight, medium weight interface, it always puckers. I've used steam, I've used no steam, I've sprayed it, but for some reason it just always puckers, and I don't know what I'm doing wrong. I don't know. But it's still usable, very much so, and I love this. I absolutely love that. That's 2. And then I have all these scraps, and I think last year I had all these scraps, and I hate throwing things away. It's my mom in me. My mom's a pack rat. I'm not that, except for yarn. I admit that. But she never throws anything away. And even when I moved out, she used to call me and ask me if she couldn't find something, if I threw it away. Maybe I did. But I have all these scraps, and in my mind it's like, I can do something with that. It could be used for something. So last year I had sent a bunch of scraps because everyone said Christy of Tea Doddles uses scraps. So I ended up sending her scraps, and she does. I see her posts a lot. Sorry, I'm cutting little ends off. She makes these great scrappy bags. So I was on YouTube going through my saved folder of sewing stuff, and I had saved one on scraps, and it's the one I had used was by Darlene MacLeod. I think that's how you say her name. I'll put a link to her below, where she takes the scraps and she fuses them to a fusible background, and then she sews on it, and I'm like, that is what I need. I totally forgotten I had saved that. Probably before I had even sent, maybe not. I think it was before I sent it to Christy. I wanted to do something with it, but I wasn't too confident in my sewing. Anyway, what I ended up doing is finding a bunch of the more recent scraps that I had used. I absolutely love this. I love, love, love. It's like a memory thing almost. All the little bits and pieces, it reminds me of what I made, or I'm like, oh, I remember using this, or, you know, the tote that I made last week, the small tote, I showed last time, with the inside pocket. This yarn was the inside pocket. These, I've made masks. Speaking of, I made masks and mailed 3 sets out to family. And I think I only took, I'll put pictures up, I only took the ones I sent to my sister. I finished it that night, put it in the envelope, and put it in the mailbox that night to get picked up. So I didn't take pictures of that. But I sent some to my parents and my brother and his family and to my sister. So that's done. But, you know, the bumblebee, that was just the inside of that brown bag that's there. This was in the tote, the small tote that I made last time. The checkered yellow I just showed, that's part of the lining. Oh, I just realized this part I sewed backwards. This is the color of the checkered yellow, but I sewed this one backwards and it looks like a different fabric, which is cool. Love it. Absolutely love it. The brown, and the back is brown. So it just pulls this, it ties it in with this one right here and a little bit here. And with Darlene's video, while she was sewing them to the interface, she would take thread and triple it and then sew the thread onto the fabric just to add more interest. So I'll put a link to that below. I think it's pretty cool. There's another video I used, or I looked at, where I'm going to try this again but a little differently, where she actually sews the fabrics, you know, like you're quilting, sewing them together. This one is just, it's interfaced on, and then you sew the raw edges down to, you know, keep them from fraying too much with the zigzag. Oh, look at that. Ugh. And after I sewed them, then I just went back around, you know, all over it, trying to catch any edges that I didn't catch and stuff. So, and it's the perfect little size pouch. It's like a travel size pouch, a makeup size pouch, a sock size bag pouch, a small hat size pouch. If you're making a little amigurumi, this will be perfect for it. And the inside again is yellow, and then this is another scrap that I had of pink, and it was just enough to make the pocket. All I did was cut out a little bit of the frayed edges, and it was just enough to make a pocket. And that's one of the ways I like using my scraps, as if it's big enough for a pocket. Sometimes a big pocket, sometimes a small pocket. I like to use it in there. So, and it ties in with, this was a strip of it that was there as well. This is like my Perk Me Up bag from last time. I absolutely love it. And now that I know I can do it, I am so gung-ho to like use, because I was keeping a lot of my scraps in a bag too, so I'm very much gung-ho. I did order some, on the back of this I had fusible fleece rather than a thin. I think hers, she used a thinner fusible, but it wasn't as thin as the one I have. But I like the way it is on the fusible fleece, which I'm still waiting for Joann's, which is, even before this, they were slow to ship things, and I'm still waiting for my delivery of my fusible fleece, because I bought a whole lot. I think I bought a big bat of it, rather than just buying like yards at a time. I love this. I was thinking of Christy the whole time I was making that too, because I love her scrappy bags. All right, This is going to be a little long, by the way. Okay, so we did all that. So with everything going on with my uncle's passing and everything, that night I was legitimately in, I don't even want to say shock, I just was in denial almost. So I couldn't do anything. Whatever I was doing, I stopped, barely got through the day's work, and then towards the end of the night, I just, the only thing that came to mind to make was this. I made a little angel, octo angel, in his honor. Yep. The wing tutorial I got from someone on YouTube. But yeah. So that was that. Last week I'd also made, because it was Easter, an octo bunny. And again, this is Rose's yarn that she had gifted me. So, and then when I made that Hat Not Hate, I had a little bit left. So I made an octo and I ran out, so I just added some white tentacles. I was trying to give him the the eyebrow raise. So there's that. And then just a few more. Excuse me. My teammate, his wife's a nurse in Boston, and he had ordered some, oh, I just realized I didn't stuff this one enough. Darn. Last Christmas he had ordered a couple of F-bombs, because I had given him one, because he's been known to drop a few at work when things are frustrated. So I made him one for Christmas, and then he turned around and ordered a couple for, I think it was his mom? His parents, I think? So he wanted me to make a few for his wife for work. And I totally forgot with everything going on. So I've been working on it. And I made the first one, and it just definitely came out way too big. So it's regular single crochet, but when I do the F, it's in, what do you call it? Waistcoat, linen, center single crochet. Yeah, it's a pain, but I like the feel of it. It makes it sturdier, because I don't like having to crochet the F and then sew it on. I wanted it all integrated, and I did try it doing regular single crochet color changes, and I didn't like the way it looks, so I decided to use the waistcoat stitch instead. So that was the first one that came out way too big. So I made other ones. So this is the original. So this is the size I'm going for. So this one, I don't know, he might still want it, but I think he wanted 5. So I have 3 done. I still have to do the, what do you call it? What do they call that? The fuse. So I have 3 done. 3 done. I need to make 2 more of this size and then add the fuse to them. So there's that. I don't like color changing. I definitely don't like it. My tension just, I've yet to be able to control my tension, and I have to pull back a few times and loosen up, and or else it just like, it really puckers. So definitely something I need to work on. All right. Lastly, I have a couple more amigurumis, because that's where I am right now, just amigurumi mode. I want to make all the things, but I still have to work, and being home doesn't change that. It doesn't give me any more time than I normally would have, it seems. So I have I put the book away. So someone at my meetup group last year had some old books and stuff that she had passed out, and one of the ones I picked was an amigurumi of a panda, and I didn't have any white yarn readily available, so I had scrap yarn. So I decided, after I made the amigurumi after I made him with the mandala that didn't, because of the long color changes, didn't stripe the way I wanted, I still had pretty much the full cake left, or most of the cake left. So I decided, I went through and I separated all the colors because I wanted an Amaneko cat with as much of the colors as possible. So I separated the colors, and I did make the Amaneko. I'll show you in a minute, but what was left, I still had quite a bit of yarn left, so I decided to make the panda in just the scraps that I had left. And my panda, I'll put a picture of what it's supposed to look like on the screen. My panda looks like a Frankenstein rat. That's what he looks nothing like a panda. Eyes I sewed on too far apart. Everything else is the way the pattern is, but the face, it doesn't, unless it's black and white, it doesn't really, it doesn't really give off panda. So it was just a scrappy panda. I was just using the pattern to use the yarn. So I don't like using 3-weight yarn for amigurumi. It's just too small. You got to go down a hook size, and for me, I'd have to go down 2. And I usually use a 3.5 with my worsted, even my chunky yarn sometimes. And I went to a 3.25, and I think I still should have gone down another. I don't have a 3mm that's good. I have it in here? No, it's a 4. I have a 3mm I bought that's I think it's a Knit Pro hook. I don't like it because it's flat like this, and I don't like the shape at all. I have one other hook, which is a 3.5, I think, millimeter in this. I don't like this shape, so I don't use it often. And I ordered one on Amazon, or I thought I did, and when it came, I was so excited, only to realize I clicked on the wrong thing, and I ordered another 3.5. So now I have 3 Clover Moore 3.5s, which will come in handy because I use them all the time for amigurumi. But I had to reorder and get the 3mm this time. I think I went on eBay this time, and the seller also had a 2mm and a 2.5mm, which you don't usually get here. And it's a UK seller, so it's going to be a little bit before it gets here, but I'm excited about that. So yeah, the Frankenstein panda that looks more like a rat. And the pattern had a bow, ribbon bow, but I didn't want to deal with that, so I just crocheted something of the colors. Frankenstein rat panda. Does look like a rat. The eyes. And in the pattern, it had colored eyes, and I don't have any more colored eyes. I actually ordered, I did get it. I ordered a case of colored eyes. I'd done that once before, but I've used them all, so there's that. It's a good little pattern, but definitely not panda colors. So that was the mandala gnome. When you pull the colors apart, that's what you get. The purple, it starts purple and then it goes into purplish with greens, and then it ends in green. So that worked out. So finally, my Amaneko that I wished had come out very colorfully, because the gnome is very colorful, didn't. And I wanted a colorful marled Amaneko, and that definitely wasn't it. The saving grace was that it, where it changed, gave him pants. So, alright, I got 2 minutes to finish because Father Minion just got back from dropping him work. So what I got, I took, because I had separated all the colors from the cake, I put them in a rainbow, and I made the Emineko that I wanted. Well, I wanted it more marled, but I just went with a single color. I wish I had marled it, but look at her. I love her. I went with individual colors for the limbs, but then I put them all into rainbow for the body, and I adore her. Absolutely adore her. There's a little bit of this left, so I made a flower, and then I took bits of each of the colors and stitched on the center. Oh, he's trying to focus on the mannequin. Come on. Oh, love her. Love her. Yeah. So she's been my bright spot to look at. So now I have 2 Eminekos, Frankenstein, and then Theo the fox all sitting up there so I can look at them. So, oh, and I just dropped the scissors. So yeah, that is all I have. For those who tagged me, Gary tagged me, and I think Debbie tagged me, and real quick, I don't do must-have snacks. I don't, I snack on whatever's there, but I always have tea. Twinings Earl Grey is my favorite, but it's been giving me heartburn probably because I've been drinking so much of it, so this is what it's been in my cup for a while now. Orange Pekoe, it's very nostalgic. And then almonds. Love almonds. So I used to pig out on it until my nutritionist told me I had to stop. So that's why there's still a lot left in the container. And then wine. White Zinfandel, the occasional treat. Even though every episode I have a glass of wine, it seems like, but it's not an every episode kind of thing. Although the minions might disagree. But what do they know? Anyway, I don't know when I'll be back, actually, right now. Yeah, life is lifing hard right now, so I will talk to you guys when I talk to you. Thank you for spending some time with me. I hope everyone is keeping safe. I know a lot of people are itching to get back out there. I'm not in a hurry, especially now. I am not in a hurry. Yeah, just stay safe. Take care of yourselves and each other. And I will talk to you guys next time, whenever that is. Have a good Sunday and the rest of the week. Bye, guys.